Every school day, children across the country climb aboard school buses. But did you know that in Queensland, it's not mandatory for any of those buses to have seatbelts? Of course, most of them do, but if you get an older bus or a replacement, those 100 kilometre per hour roads across southern Queensland are certainly looking, and certainly are, a lot more dangerous for our kids. A chorus of parents and safety advocates, both from the bush and the cities, are at the moment calling for urgent reforms. Kathleen Chiverton lives inland from Clermont in Queensland, southwest of Mackay. Last year, Kathleen's two children were on a school bus that was involved in a serious crash, on a bus that, like so many across the country, except for those in Western Australia where the laws are different, had no seatbelts. And she joins me now. Kathleen, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, thank you very much for giving me your time. Take me back to that morning last year. What happened?
It's been 12 months since the accident. It was just a normal Tuesday. I was heading to pick them up, actually, from the bus stop Tuesday afternoon. I live approximately 80 kilometres out of Clermont, so the only option is either homeschooling or we've got a beautiful little bush school of about 40 odd kids that is halfway between where we live and Clermont. So we opted to send the kids there. So it was just a normal afternoon, got to my neighbour's turn off and had a phone call from one of the teacher aides saying that there'd been an accident. So obviously I started to panic, and all I was asking is, where's Glenn and Chloe? Where's Glenn and Chloe? And all I could hear was screaming, which was Glenn. Thank God, like someone up above, I'm not religious or by any means, neither is my husband, but someone was looking out for the whole community because there's two bus runs and nearly everyone has to be on both bus runs. Our bus alone has roughly about 15 odd kids on that bus. So on that day, we had school photos, and then a lot of kids after school have sport in town. So a lot of parents, thank goodness, that afternoon came and picked up their kids to go to town. So there was only 3 kids on that bus plus the driver. So there was 4 people on that bus, and 2 were my children.
Were either of your 2 children, Glenn or Chloe, seriously injured in the crash?
Yeah.
What happened there?
So the bus driver just never gave way. She was at a giveaway sign and he was coming over the ridge doing about 80 kilometres per hour, and he T-boned the bus and it rolled 4 times with no seatbelts whatsoever. Chloe and the other little boy, he was a year younger than Glenn, was sitting right behind the bus driver and Glenn was right behind Chloe. As it rolled, Glenn got chucked down the aisle out to the back of the bus and he was unresponsive for a couple of seconds. He kept on blacking out and had suspected head injuries and spinal injuries, but he was still walking around, but he was very concussed. Chloe was our absolute gem. Like, if someone could give her the Australian award, she's just so resilient. The bus, as it rolled, the windscreen went, most of the windows were smashed out. I have no idea how any of the kids didn't get thrown out these windows with no seatbelts. So she grabbed both the little boys and the bus driver and was taking the boys out the windscreen. She just took over and she actually ended up with a massive cut onto her back due to the glass or the bump or the door. I have no idea, but these kids, they're only wee little. I don't know how they didn't get flung out. It's an old bus with no seatbelts. Our community has been so worried about this bus for so long that it was only a matter of time before something was going to happen.
And then it did. But the interesting thing is that it took this tragedy for parents
100%.
like yourself to get their wish. So the replacement bus now has seatbelt.
100%. In saying that, we have 2 bus runs. The other bus has seatbelts. So half the school is looked after, but our kids, it was just a risk. It was just a risk. If you want them to get an education, it was a risk to put them on that bus. Like, I don't understand. As soon as you get in your car to go somewhere, you straight away put your seatbelt on.
Absolutely.
When you have an animal, a dog or something in the back of your ute or even in your car, you have to have that dog tied up. It's by law, you have to have an animal tied up, or even your items like tying down a motorbike or something like that in the back of your ute. You have to have that item tied down by law. The police will charge
Absolutely.
you. What's
Definitely.
the difference? They're your kids.
It is an extraordinary situation. I believe now you make sure that when your kids get on the bus, you make sure that not just them, but every child on that bus does their seatbelt up. So you take it upon yourself. Morning. But you'd be advocating for the retrograde fitting of seatbelts to all school buses, essentially.
110%. Every morning I stand up on that bus and I make sure every kid, plus the bus driver, I make sure every kid, and it's quite embarrassing for my kids, I think, but I don't want anyone, other family, to go through what we had to. Like, our whole family could have been wiped out that one afternoon from a bad judgment. My kids are still suffering from it. Like, my daughter has only just started sleeping in the car again after 6 months. My son has problems with his bowels because of the impact of the accident. It took them 6 weeks to move out of my room into their own beds from the fright and the shock and all that sort of stuff. It's traumatic for them.
An absolutely stark reminder of the importance of this debate and to get something done about it. Kathleen, 100%. I very much appreciate you taking the time for our chat this morning and sharing that story, and good on you for being vigilant about everyone wearing them now that you have the wish that you wanted, which is 2 buses on the bus route, both with seatbelts, but it's come at a great cost. But thank you for sharing that story.
Yes, thank you very much, David. Thank you for having me.